Reality, a concept or truth? Do we all see the same reality? These questions have been tackled so often in pop culture, everyone could think of an example. But the philosophical notion dates back way in time. In this clip, we would like to make you see how the concept of idealism is often used in movies and cartoons. But what is idealism? The term describes the idea that reality does not exist in an objective manner. Rather, reality is completely mind-dependent and is based on our perceptions and experiences. One could say it really is constructed by a person and therefore only exists in relation to that person's mind. So, how does that relate to movies? Disclaimer, spoilers ahead. In Inception, the protagonist continuously asks, "Am I dreaming?" to know if the place he is in is reality or not. But according to idealism, there's no such thing as a material world existing separate of our minds. The world as we see it is real to us because that is what our mind knows. In the film, the question of reality is tackled through introducing the idea of artificial layers of dreams penetrating one's consciousness. Where we might think, but a dream is not reality, as long as the character thinks it is reality, it will continue to be such until they realize it is just a dream and wake up to some other reality they will then question again. This clearly demonstrates that reality is something that everyone sees in a different way. It is subjective rather than objective, and humans fail to comprehend it exhaustively. The idea that idealism holds has its roots in India and in Greece. Both Hindu idealists and Greek Neoplatonists tackled the concept that reality comes from the consciousness. In the 18th century, the British empiricist George Berkeley brought idealism back to life by questioning if a thing such as a material world outside our minds actually exists. Esse est percipi, to be is to be perceived, Berkeley said. There's no physical reality because everything exists within our minds. He fittingly talked about the Matrix. So what better example to give than the movie The Matrix, in which the protagonist comes to realize that everything he has considered the real world is actually a shared simulation.
What is the Matrix? It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
In a way, each person's reality completely relies on them perceiving it. It is not a real physical thing they can touch, but actually just in their heads. And still, it is their reality. Does the world follow a certain order? Hume said that such a lawfulness can never be perceived. With the problem of induction, he states that we cannot assume that the world will behave in a lawful manner. We are unable to assume what we have seen will be the same in the future. Because our idea of reality as produced by our minds will always be limited to what we have seen and might be completely different to another person. In movies, this point is illustrated each time a character discovers something new, previously unknown to his reality. In Peter Pan, the children are exposed to an entirely new world called Neverland, in which, for instance, flying is possible. This is an ideal example of how people's perception of reality changes once they are exposed to new experiences. It also showcases the idealist viewpoint that there's no objective truth or reality. There can be multiple, such as the original reality that the children experienced prior to Neverland, and the magical world itself that Peter Pan introduced them to. The overall experience of magic in Neverland changed reality for the children. This scene from The Little Mermaid highlights how different people can experience different realities based on their different experiences. To Ariel, the surface is not dangerous because she goes there regularly. Accordingly, her reality is based on those experiences. However, her father has a different reality because of his prescriptions, so his mind-constructed reality about the surface is different. This showcases the idealist perspective that there is indeed no objective reality because people have different experiences and ideas, thus constructing their own subjective reality in their mind. In The Truman Show, Truman has been living his whole life in an artificial world that he considered as reality due to the lack of other experiences, which might have shaped his perception of reality differently. He doesn't think his world is artificial, until he discovers that there is a whole other world and this, ideally he considered real, in fact, is orchestrated by someone else. This creates a dilemma because his experiences make his reality, but because someone else was controlling those experiences, does that make his previous reality invalid? A realist perspective would say that, in fact, there's only one truth, which is not the world Truman was living in before. However, an idealist perspective would say that there's no objective reality or truth. Therefore, Truman's reality is considered to still be a reality. Regardless of whether it was created by other people, Truman still experienced it, and those experiences constitute reality for him.
We accept the reality with which we're presented.
Where all these movies deal with the concept of a mind-dependent reality, eventually most of them still present the idea that there is one actual reality and some valid deviations from it. This, however, is still heavily influenced by rational conceptions. A movie scene perfectly illustrating the essence of idealism is the following from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Is this all real? Or is it just happening inside my head?
Of course it's happening inside your head, Harry. Why should that mean that it's not real?
All reality is inside our heads, but it is still reality because in the end, reality as such is mind-dependent. With this in mind, we can even take a step back and look at movies as a medium and how they illustrate the point idealism is making. The stories being told, the realities created on screen are envisioned and perceived by a variety of people, ranging from screenwriter and director to cast, crew and even viewer. Each person involved has a different viewing experience, showcasing how reality is a product of our senses. So, to conclude, every movie is also the starting point for an infinite number of different, equally valid realities, all existing simultaneously inside the minds of each viewer, creator and editor. Because in the end, reality, as constructed by our experiences and senses, is mind-dependent.